devastation of Hurricane Mitch horrified the world. Throughout Central America, more than 100 hours of non-stop rain liquefied hillsides, sending walls of mud crashing through mountain villages. More than 9,000 people died in a 5-day period. One of the country's hardest hit was Honduras. 3/4 of the nation's roads and bridges were washed away. Mitch also devastated the country's economy. More than 70% of its crops and fisheries were demolished. In the Honduran capital city of Tegucigalpa, one man not only foresaw this incredible tragedy, he was working to prevent it the day the storm hit.
The hurricane was horrible, but the real tragedy is the greed of large fishing companies, and cutting down the trees made the hurricane 10 times worse than it should have been.
Jorge Varela is co-founder and executive director of CODEFFAGOLF, a grassroots organization which represents 10,000 Honduran fishermen.
The fishing companies saw that they could increase the shrimp production, clearing the mangroves and other vegetation. Those areas suffer the greatest destruction from the hurricane.
The Gulf of Fonseca. A generation ago, its warm, shallow waters offered up a plentiful harvest of shrimp for hundreds of local fishermen.
The fishing companies saw that increasing the yield of shrimp farm, they could increase the production.
Within 2 years, production of shrimp in the Gulf had increased tenfold. But the increased yield was not without a price.
Pollution from shrimp farms is loaded with nitrogen and phosphorus, and that can cause algal blooms in offshore waters like the Gulf of Fonseca. And in some cases, those algal blooms may be of toxic algae.
Superfeeding causes the tons of fish meal poured into the bays to degrade water quality and promote disease. Mangrove trees play a crucial role in the ecosystem. They provide a buffer between land and sea and act as a natural nursery for young fish. When factory farms began clear-cutting mangrove swamps to create artificial lagoons, Jorge Varela entered the picture.
Destroying the swamp lets the chemical reach the sea and kill the marine life and maybe all children. Unless the shrimp industry change, it will kill the Gulf and maybe his people too.
Local fishermen also felt the constraints of the powerful shrimp industry. Factory aquaculture for export was forcing local fishermen out of business.
There are not a lot of fish here anymore. I think there are more fishermen than fish.
In 1988, Varela formed his Fishermen's Alliance. Suddenly, Varela found he had enemies in high places. He received frequent threats on his life. 2 members of the alliance were found murdered. In spite of vigorous resistance, the committee negotiated an unprecedented 2-year moratorium on new shrimp farms in Honduras. Things were beginning to look up for the fishermen when Mother Nature paid a devastating call. Ironically, the disaster proved Varela's predictions to be correct.
Where the mangrove is live, that is good. Where the mangrove is cutting down, that is bad.
The day after the storm, Varela immediately turned all of CODEFFAGOLF's manpower and equipment to disaster relief. Volunteers working from the wreckage of their own homes negotiated nearly impassable roads to bring food, medicine, and clothing to those hardest hit. Jorge Varela's impromptu army delivered 35 tons of corn and beans to Mitch survivors.
See those children? They are the future of Honduras. The hurricane gives all of us the chance to start again.
For outstanding environmental achievement in Central and South America, a 1999 Goldman Environmental Prize is awarded to Jorge Varela of Tegucigalpa, Honduras.